Hello and welcome. This is Diana, and you are watching Holistic Vibes. This is going to be for the sign of Cancer. As always, take what resonates and leave the rest. We are on the brink of the new, uh, the full moon. And I don't know why I just tasted cologne, which is kind of interesting. So maybe you have a grandfather uh, who is kind of guiding you. It says the power of community, beginner's mind, gathering around, and stars in the sky of limited possibilities, right? Maybe you want to meditate out under the stars tonight. But whatever doors have been closed to you, it's really like reactivating within yourself, like the honoring of the journey, right? The moon goddess, right? And again, we're in the full moon right now. So it's kind of like the culmination of like your pillars of vibrational frequency of like, what are you going to pull to you in the here and the now, right? Indigo in devilish ways. Says your devious ways create a touch of danger that is hard to resist. There is a dark side to you that keeps them intrigued, right? And so, like, and that can also be like kind of a, they're saying it's a tenfold kind of an energy because like you're light and you're dark. And in the honoring of the journey, but to understand that you are God's child, right? Like it's like walking in divine faith, not by sight, but knowing that like your energy is meant for something so much like greater. And for some of you, you are born on a full moon, and they're just kind of reiterating that, like, you need to learn to work with the energies. Like, what is this moon trying to pull out of your reality? What is it trying to release? And then as you release, you're going to create like this vacuum seal of like what you're pulling to you. And so, like, through your understanding, because very much so, like, it's an emotional moon, it's an emotional energy, because there is like this release of all the things that have been kind of binding or holding you back. And they just said it's very interesting because it's the lion, the Ten of Pentacles, and the lovers. Um, and so maybe there's something that's been keeping you from stepping into your strength in a beginner's mind, right? Because although maybe some of you are starting over, you're not starting without experience. Like you're starting with a culmination of like all the lessons you've learned up to this point. And so like through the power of selectively honoring the people that you pull towards you, like what is it that you are going to be setting into night sky, right? And I would even venture to say if you can get to a high point, to the top of a mountain, I would do a meditation on that mountaintop, right? Because that's really going to shift, in regards to like the what you're bringing, like getting clear on your goals, getting clear on like the what has worked, what hasn't worked, what things do you want to reward in your current reality. Where is there still anxiety? Where is there still this not enough or this impediment or the sensitivity? Oh, you're so sensitive, right? No, you're attuned to the change and the shift of the energy of the planet, right? You are in a state of like, where do you get your good advice from? Where have you been in a state where you've had to walk blindly? You had to walk by an honoring of like what is coming, of what is being released, right? What is that said tower, that said shift in your reality that like God's been kind of placing on your heart, and I've got goosebumps from head to toe, right? Like through your psychic gifts, through your intuition, through your emotional set points. Like, what are the things that have been keeping you in your emotions? And like, where have you been sitting on the fence of like, I should take a leap of faith, but I'm going to hold back. I should be proceeding forward, but there's a lot of apprehension behind it. And like, through whatever determinations that you've been like shifting from, like, it's stepping into this limitless possibilities that you are your own creator. You are the one who is truly meant for something like far greater. And I think that is like the discernment of the 33, right? Because our lives have essentially shown us over and over and over where we are in a state of limitation, in a state of somebody else's set point. We pick parents that don't feed our, like, very few. I shouldn't say that. I have met 33s that have grown up in amazing, fantastic environments where they are so expansive and so co-collaborative and so loved. And and on the flip side, I've met 33s that have picked every single trauma in the book and said, "Cool, like let's do it again." And it's amazing. Or there's been somebody who has attempted to impede your true divine nature of like what you're truly meant to do on this planet. They've almost tried to destiny swap with you. And so it's like, whatever you're calling truce to, whatever you're waving your white flag for, like however you're stepping into this mature emotional step of fortitude, right? Where you are tired on the journey, where you truly want to help other people, where you can clearly see the soul aspects, the shadow aspects of an individual, right? Where they're opening and activating through old wounds. Um, if there's been like this perpetuating cycle of like loneliness or like impediment or like a lack of wholeness, just identify like where that's living at in your field. Like, what activates and flares up when you think of loneliness, where you think of being unfulfilled, where you haven't had a commitment, or where you've been mistreated in commitments. Again, this can be work, this can be, I mean, this shouldn't be in here. I'm going to keep it, but it definitely, and it was not in there earlier. Um, it's a strength card. It's like, where has your lion been made to be docile? And maybe that's where the devilish ways come into being, right? Is because maybe you were in a state of reflectiveness of where you've been and how you have behaved in the past, and you kind of went completely to the opposite end of the pendulum. And the question is like, what emotional things have been activated in your field in regards to your self-belief, where your hope has been broken, right? Where your change has been unseen, where you don't feel like you can move forward, where you can't take a leap of faith. Like, an honor that shift, that stalemate of the where you are versus the where you truly want to be. It's the understanding your soul's purpose, understanding um the patterns of recognition. And again, you have something maybe very well with mushrooms. Maybe you want to do some magic mushrooms. um, There could be something in regards to time travel or something in regards to like lucid dreaming or being on that paradigm shift. Because I keep seeing it. It's like there's this ripple in between like pathways or timelines, paradigm shifting. Maybe you're in the process of like looking at that to identify or understand like your true calling or like the what you're holding on to, understanding all you have. It says, in this moment, all you have is love. In this moment, life is as above. In this moment, I am light as a dove. In this moment, I embrace all thereof. But really, I mean, it can't, and ideas and intentions. And so maybe there is an activation in your DNA sequences through this portal of this full moon, of this eclipse energy, right? There can very well be, and some of you, they want me to call out numbers. 17 could be very relevant for you. 26, 21, 51, 606, 7B could be a house number. 17, 7, 43, 17, and 4, 9, 2B, 9. 1717, let go of the past. So take a moment and just kind of ground into your energy, right? And I want you to kind of connect into your red grid, your foundational grid, and honor the things that have been kind of been plaguing you or have been recreating or replaying in your reality for numerous cycles. And for those of you that can close your eyes, put your feet on the ground, and I want you to envision your altar, right? The altar that God gave you, that is in your Ka body, in your creative space. Um, and I want you to take a moment and any of the repeating patterns, because you know those patterns like nobody's business, because you've had to do them over and over and over. Because we are in Mercury in retrograde, I want you to lay down, and maybe you pause the video and you go and write down the things that you've been repeating in your patterns, in your pattern recognition. When, if it's work, if it's love, if it's finances, if it's joy, whatever it is that's been keeping you anchored, and they're showing me boots with cement blocks on them, right? And whatever thing that has been keeping you stuck and stagnant, out of a state, like in a state of confusion, in a state of disarray, in a state of um, not being able to hear divine guidance, in a state of second guessing, in a state of like lethargicness, in a state of blockades and blockages, in a state of a false reality. Like, honor those journeys, right? And open up your wings. Like, feel the wings on your back, like, open up. And honor anything that's been kind of trying to pinch your divine guidance and command it to get out of your field. You say, get out of my field. You have no bearing being here. You are not allowed to be in my space. I don't want you in my space. I don't want any of these thought patterns. Like, I am claiming sovereignty in this moment right now, right? And you're stepping into your own self-fulfilling prophecy. You're stepping away from anxiety. You're stepping out of inability of trusting self, and you're stepping into truly knowing divinely what God has made for you to become, right? And as you release the stalemates, and as you release the roadblocks, and as you release the stress out of the shoulders, as you get out of the fear paradigm, I want you to like just see the world for a moment. And I want you to identify and see your collective consciousness, right? Because you incarnated in a pod. And just like whales have a honing device on their pod frequency where they talk to their own pod in a dialect, so do your energies match your pod. And as you release this energy, release it for your collective consciousness, release it for your pod, right? And take a deep breath and allow that breath to clear any gaps, any impediments, anything that has been trying to anchor you into a lower paradigm. Because we've been bombarded with frequencies. We've been bombarded with impediments. We've been having things that have been trying to keep lowering the vibrational frequency because they don't want us to get into a heart-centered consciousness. They don't want you to be in a state of alignment where there are no delays, where you are instantaneously manifesting, where you are stepping into your soul's purpose. They want to keep you in a state of disarray and in a state of re-evaluating all these old bonds and these old like tetherings. And so if there are any cords of attachment, I'd like for the guides to step forward and fully cut away those attachments because you don't need them anymore. You don't need to learn the lessons. You've already learned the lessons, Cancer. You have been holding all of the vibrational frequencies and you're housing some kind of knowledge that needs to come out and through you so that you can step into this divine teacher. Something having to do with specifically manifestation, with like the stability of like the way that you've had to learn to be loyal to self, right? This is going to resonate for somebody out there. And if that's the case, then like name it and claim it and say, I am ready. It is time now. And push that energy out into the collective consciousness through that root chakra grid and allow yourself to truly step into the divinity, into the loyalty of like your journey, knowing that you walk in divine faith and that God is going to remove every single difficult obstacle that you've had to endure up to this point so that you don't have to take it into the next. It's almost like you are going to be able to jump into a completely different paradigm. You are going to be able to create a completely different reality through your sensitivities, through the understanding of like the flip in introversions, the things that have been attempting to keep you tethered and keeping you on a lower trajectory. It's allowing yourself to sink into the energy of the, the divine. So just take a moment and allow that energy to wash over you. And each one of you is going to get a different color when you close your eyes. You're going to see a different color that you're going to need. And as you see that color, just allow it to be a waterfall and allow it to fill all the gaps and all the impediments that you've picked up until this point. And if there are any entities that are trying to attach to your energy, push them out and call in Archangel Raphael to ask them to be fully removed out of your field. Whoever has shoulder pain, just kind of move your head from left to right and command it to fully release. Take a deep breath in, fully grounding into the moment and allowing yourself that shift out of whatever you've been holding on to. Journal your ideas. Make sure you keep a journal by your bed because you are going to get this intuitive insights and ground it into your reality, right? Because you're going to see things, but if you're just going to keep it in a book, it's not going to help implement it. It's time for you to open up to the limitless possibilities of what you can actually become, right? And what the earth can become. It's super important for you to honor your shadow aspects of what you had to learn up to this point, but it's really time for you to step into your wisdom and to step into your creation, for you to become the teacher, for you to get out of this, the thinking mode, right? I just said I'm going to leave that there. There's something with collaboration that has been on your sidebar, and you're going to need to step into that. If you need a healing or a reading, You can go to holisticvibes.org. All of my information is there, and I am booking out about a week and a half. Um, Pay attention to your dreams because you're going to start being super, super vivid if they have not been already. And again, write down those cycles. Because they're gonna like you're gonna jump into a new paradigm, and then what's gonna happen is the ego is gonna get triggered, and it's gonna kind of want to hold you into a lower paradigm, and you have to honor that and fully release it, and just say, "I see you." And it's gonna take work, but that is gonna be something that you're gonna have to do to let go of the past. And it's through that cognitive awareness that is you're no longer playing small, and you're no longer allowing somebody from a limiting life path to be the one that is controlling your paradigm. It's like kind of like you're stepping into your self mastery of like the honoring of I am a 33. This is my job and this is what I'm meant to do. And it's kind of like when you actively are co-collaborating and speaking your prophecy into being, the world has to respond to that, right? So I'm going to leave that there. Until next time, be well. Ciao.